Hello and welcome back to Geeks Unleashed. It's episode 234. I'm Mark. I'm back. I wasn't here last week. That's right, the good-looking guy missed a week, and it was ladies' night last week. Right, each week on the Geeks Unleashed podcast, we catch you up on our pop culture lives. I've forgotten what I'm doing already. We discuss some movie news, sometimes some trailer reactions, and I am also joined normally by some hot guests. There's only one this week. It's one of the members of last week's Ladies' Night. Jasmine is back.
I'm back! Yay!
I felt rusty for a minute. I was like, shit.
Yeah, well, I had fun, like doing the behind the scenes stuff. Like Mark does all the behind the scenes stuff, so I got to do the behind the scenes pieces last week. I messed up a little bit, but for a first try, not too bad.
I'd like to say I've watched it, but I haven't. I have to apologise because I started a new job this week. And I don't know how much this means to people like who don't know the UK or England, but I live above Oxford, about 15 minutes or so. And on Monday I was in Bristol, which is 2 hours away, and I left the house at because it was my first day. I was a bit worried about being late, but I'll be honest, I wasn't on time. I didn't get there for 9. The trains have not been doing well this week because of the heat. There's been a lot of cancellations and delays, I got to Bristol for sort of 9ish. But my new boss was cool because he's equally had loads of problems this week. And then I was with him until sort of 3:30, and then I met up with a friend of ours, Jasmine, Tom, who has been a regular on here since March, and I had a couple of beers, he had a couple of gin and tonics. I found out that he doesn't drink lager, and we had a couple of drinks, and then I shot home. And then Tuesday I was in London, and had a good few beers again in the evening. That was a nightmare getting home. My 1 hour train journey took me about 2.5 hours. I was honestly dying. It was horrendous.
How does the heat affect the trains?
I just assume, to be honest with you, I don't really know why it's been affecting the trains.
Because I know we don't have trains here in Texas, but like in New York it gets hot and the trains run all the same.
Yeah, but New York is got mixed weather like here, so it's not hot all year round. I don't know. This is like a real massive heat wave this week. It's been absolutely unbearable. I've got a fan on me right now. It's barely working. We do have air conditioning on our top floor, and it has actually, even that has been struggling the last couple of days. It's been cut out a few times during the night, and that's never happened before. I think the heat was just even getting too much of that. So.
Now, see, that happens to us all the time. Our power grid gets so overwhelmed with all of the people running their electricity that the power goes out, which really sucks when it's 100 degrees outside.
And then so Wednesday I was in Oxford. Again, got back a bit late. Thursday I went somewhere I've never been before, a place called Cheltenham. So I drove over there, again out all day. And then today was the first day in a long time I watched. First day all week I managed to work from home. But because of this week's show, watching 3 films, one I've watched a few times, and then the other 2 were my first watches. I ran out of time. I was just scared. And do you know what, Jasmine? I haven't even been to the cinema this week.
Well, but I mean, starting a new job also takes up a lot of time. I can see why this week would be more stressful. Next time, though, you're going to have to put up a map that shows all of these different places where you've been going, because none of those words mean anything if it's not London or Banbury. Those are the only 2 places that I'm familiar with. Otherwise, I don't know.
But that's why I would like to, because even Karen, who was on last week and subbed in for me, and she's messaged me a couple of times going, "Have you watched it yet?" I was like, "No, I honestly haven't had time." I was like, and even the podcast version of this show, I didn't get up until Monday, which I normally get it straight up after we finish. So, right. Okay, so I'll do you want to do your bit that you normally do? Or?
Yeah. Well, now that you know who you're dealing with, before we get started with the nitty-gritty stuff, please remember to like this video and subscribe to our channel. And be sure to leave us a comment and let us know what you thought. Now, Mark was saying, like, the third film in this series, Worst Person in the World, is pretty well known, whereas the first two are not. So we would love to know, what do you think? Like, did you watch the first two before the other one came out, or were you did what we did and you watched in reverse order? Let us know. Leave us a comment. Also, if you're listening on your favorite podcast platform, we appreciate that as well. We'd also love it if you would leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Podchaser.
Yeah, thanks for that. So we normally do some geek news, and we also do something called Geek of the Week. What would you want to do first, Jasmine?
Let's do Geek of the Week first.
Okay. Do you want to go first?
My Geek of the Week is World Cup. Like, that's all I've been doing.
So last week I watched a lot more of it, but this week I don't. Oh, other than the boring England-Ghana match, that's the only game I've watched this week. I've not watched any other England games other than that. Any other World Cup games.
I have really been enjoying all of the tiny countries. Like, I'm hoping tonight I can catch the second half of the Cabo Verde game. But like, it's been really, like, it's fun. I don't remember, like, I know the US has hosted before, but I don't remember what we did back in '94. Like, I remember being excited, but like, it was nothing like this. So we are a host city. And so also just being able to see World Cup things around town as I'm out and about has been really cool. So like, I've been enjoying the fan atmosphere around World Cup. And just like watching other people enjoy the things that we are very used to. Like, seriously, some of my favorite things have been watching all of these foreigners come to Texas and like enjoy barbecue. Like, it's just been hilarious. I also get a really, really big kick out of all of them hitting our heat and then realizing like everywhere you go has air conditioning. Like, to see people walk into a stadium that holds almost 100,000 people and they're like, what do you mean there's AC? And we're like, why wouldn't there be AC? Like, it's just been really fun to see like some of that culture shock, but like everybody's been getting along really great, which has also been really fun to see.
I was talking to, you probably remember when we first started with a friend of mine on Ali. Well, sorry, doesn't go by Ali anymore. She was Ali Burke, but she goes by Ashley something now. Well, apparently she always went by Ashley, but she had an online pseudonym of Ali. So she came on our podcast like 5 years ago. She was really promoting the World Cup the other day, and we missed each other. And I just said, firstly, I don't get how America can host football, considering you lot have no interest in football other than the World Cup, and two, you lot call it soccer, which is just ridiculous.
It's because we have the infrastructure, so fuck you. That's why we did it.
We have the infrastructure too, so does Europe.
You've had one.
Oh.
Hasn't the UK had one?
Well, we may have hosted a World Cup, but I don't know when it last was, the 60s maybe. We'll never be allowed to host a World Cup, I can tell you. It will never happen.
Why?
So, that's what the conversation I was having with Ali. She's like, when do you lot, I said, we'll never be allowed to host a World Cup because our English fans are too violent. So that's what it comes down to.
You guys don't have guns. You think you're more violent than the Americans?
Someone getting beaten the crap out of is someone getting beaten the crap out of. That's what it comes down to is English fans taking it too seriously. So, they'd never say that. But we've tried a few times. Like David Beckham has gone and with Prince William has tried to pitch it to FIFA, and that happened at the last. Was it the last time we really put a case forward to try and host it? We still didn't get it. It just won't happen. So,
I mean,
unfortunately,
it was way less expensive for us because we didn't have to build shit. Like, literally, we didn't build anything.
Oh no,
a lot of people were surprised because they didn't realize just how big our NFL stadiums are. But at the same time, like, they're only playing games at the NFL stadiums. Like, these teams are practicing at high school fields, like, and they're surprised at how big and robust the high school stadiums are. And everybody here is just like, we are a sports nation. Like, we don't always play soccer, but like, we have the facilities. All we just got to do.
No, we've got the facilities, and so
yeah, you guys do.
So France, so Spain, they probably would get it all before we would. Yeah, definitely. I mean, United Kingdom, it's obviously got some of the biggest football teams in the world, but we'll still never get it. So.
I mean, it would be a lot less travel too. I mean, you guys are way smaller than we are. I feel bad for the teams that have to go all the way across the country. You got to get on a plane, and you got to be on a plane for 6 hours.
Yeah, I do think it's ridiculous. I do think that part's a bit ridiculous. You got a game in, like, I don't know, Mexico, and then 3 days later you got a game in New York. Like, it sounds nuts. So, like if they were here, it would just be putting them on a train or a coach or something, Well, it wouldn't be a train; it would be a coach. So, and it would be a lot easier. I think if they were to do it, it would probably be hosted between all of the United Kingdom, Scotland, England, Wales, Northern Ireland, but I reckon they should include Southern Ireland as well, and that would be a pretty good thing. But I've been alive over 40 years now, and there's been never any danger of us being a host. So I would struggle. Look, I'd love it if it was to be hosted before I was to go, but
I really feel like they should leave it with the bigger countries because, again, we already have the infrastructure. We don't have to build these stadiums. Like Qatar, when they put up the numbers, Qatar spent $220 billion building stadiums to host 4 years ago, whereas we spent $8 billion. But that $8 billion was not on stadiums. It was just on like all of the other stuff that comes with it.
No, I mean, like I said, we've got the infrastructure. We'd be able to do it. It's just that we have, unfortunately, a lot of idiots that will go and beat up foreigners. So, that's always the thing that is talked about when England lose. Watch the streets because it won't, it won't be good. So.
Well, that's unfortunate. I always figured we had some crazy fans, but again, since this is soccer, our idiot fans don't care. So maybe that's why, like, everybody else is having a good time because those people, they just don't care about soccer. So they're not bothering anybody.
I don't know. Hopefully maybe we can even, I don't know. Maybe it'll happen one day. I don't know. So, well, right. Okay. So your Geek of the Week, World Cup. As I wasn't on last week, I'm going to shout out something I did do last week, and it's just come out today on Prime. I went to the cinema to catch one of the last showings of Sheep Detectives. Which
I saw that was on Prime. That's what I'm watching this weekend. I've been looking forward to it.
Honestly, so Hugh Jackman, don't expect him to be around for long. That is
he dies in the trailer. He dies.
Yeah. Okay, so he obviously kicks it off and he sets the groundwork for the sheep. And these sheep, they do have an element of intelligence. Sheep aren't known to be intelligent, but there is an element in there. But I tell you what, this has got what's it called? There was a murder mystery thing that came out on Netflix maybe about a year ago, in the last 12 months. And it's all set at like an old people's home or
Thursday Murder Club. It was really good.
Right, okay. So it feels very much like the Thursday Murder Club. That's the vibe of this film. Thursday Murder Club, and it's murder mystery, and it's quirky, it's fun.
I feel like half the cast from Thursday Murder Club is in the Sheep Detectives.
Probably. Like I didn't look up the crossover, but I worked out. I'll be honest, I worked out who the murderer was. I was pretty pleased with myself. I went with my oldest daughter to go and watch it at the cinema. I dragged her along. I was like, I'm not going to the cinema to watch Sheep Detectives on my own. I was like, come on. She didn't want to go. I dragged her along. And even she said afterwards she enjoyed it. But honestly, Sheep Detectives is honestly a hell of a lot of fun. It's really, really good.
It looks funny.
It's funny. It's actually like an enjoyable. I get someone dies, but other than that, it's like a kind of a feel-good film. It's I'm there for it. Like I honestly think it's. Look, I'd watch it again. I don't know if you necessarily need a sequel, but it's a good one-off film.
I mean, in this day and age, Mark, if you don't get a sequel, how do you know if you were successful?
Yeah, I know. Hopefully they don't do a sequel. Like Sheep Detectives 2 would be terrible, but it's. I don't know. Maybe someone else dies in the town. it's one of those things where it's all set in the same village and everybody's known, and you get to meet everybody, the person who owns the hotel, the local vicar.
Well, it's like Clue, but with sheep.
Yeah, it's yeah. Look, it's good. Look, it's good. Honestly, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, definitely watch it this weekend in between some of your World Cup games.
Well, we'll see if I have some time. They're all closer together now, so we'll see.
Yeah, the next game for us is tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Oh, man, it's the only thing about being over in America. All the games are late.
They have a lot of late games. Like the late game today starts at 11 p.m. Eastern.
It's crazy. There's been a lot of criticism about the refreshment breaks as well.
I think it's ridiculous. Like, I say that, but like, I feel like it should be relative to the game. Like, if it is above a certain temperature, then yes, you could have the hydration break. If it's not, there's no reason. Like, the stadium that we have here, we have a retractable roof, and we have rules. If it is below 50 degrees or above 80 degrees, the roof is closed, period. There's no like, oh, the sun is out, we'll open the roof. No. So I don't understand why they couldn't have just set like a temperature limit.
Yeah, well, there's been some criticisms on can't some of the referees use their judgment as well. For instance, like if there's an injury near the refreshment breaks or hydration breaks, like 2 minutes before, can't they just merge that into one? But they haven't. They haven't been. They've all been sticking to the rules. Like, oh, there's an injury, so we're going to resolve the injury. Then everyone comes back on, start playing. Oh, no, we've got to jump into the hydration break. It's like,
it's annoying.
And also, I think a lot of your channels in America were getting criticised for showing adverts during the refreshment breaks.
There's only one channel that is hosting here. The other one is a Spanish simulcast.
Oh,
okay. The Spanish simulcast is not showing commercials. They stay on the hydration break, and they will talk you through it. But yes, the one channel that you can watch it on here in the U.S., they do have commercials. But
apparently now
they're so much shit for it. Now they do a split screen.
Yeah, because I think they've been getting a lot of shit for doing the hydration breaks. What was it? Why are they getting shit for it? Is it because people can't see what's going on?
It's because we don't. I mean, like, why do we have to inject Americanism into everything? That's why people are pissed. It's like, this is not a thing that happens in soccer matches. Like, why are we doing it here? I can understand, like, not all of the stadiums are domes. So some of them do get a lot hotter than others. But, like, if you're playing in a dome stadium with a controlled temperature, there's no fucking reason for a hydration break. There just isn't.
Oh, okay. So you're saying people just get annoyed because it's like, well, this is just an American thing to do, whack an advert in the middle of it.
Yes.
And so, we haven't got that over here. So we have two channels that host over here. So the BBC and ITV, they both host all the international games. What will happen is, like, England games will get split between each channel. Mm-hmm. And then normally the final, regardless of who is in the final, is normally shown on both channels. So,
yeah. So usually I've been watching, like, they, of course, because it's all a money grab, like, they have the regular broadcast, and then they have their streaming service, where it's like half the games are on the regular broadcast, the other half of the games are on the streaming service. Or you can watch the entire simulcast on the Spanish channel. And so it's like, for the first week and a half, I would watch 2 matches on the regular channel, and then I would flip over to the Spanish channel. And then I would watch the other 2 matches for the day on the Spanish channel because I didn't want to pay for streaming. So I've been picking up a whole lot of soccer knowledge thanks to Telemundo.
Why don't you just get a VPN and just stream some of our channels?
No. I like listening to it in Spanish.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just going to say, if you wanted to not have to worry about any of that, you've got the VPN, put BBC on, or ITV. There you go.
Yeah, I support the Spanish broadcast. Plus, I love the commentators a lot more on the Spanish broadcast.
Since I don't understand a word of Spanish, that wouldn't suit me. Also, I don't need to do it because I can watch it here. But right. Anyway, Cheap Detectives for me, World Cup for Jasmine, and then I brought back something that we haven't done for a couple of weeks because last week was Jasmine and Karen, and I'm just
that was too much work for me as a newbie. So
no, that's fine. I can't remember what happened 2 weeks ago now. I'm completely and utterly blank now, and I know that we've covered some decent stuff. Like, well, we covered obviously one of the best films of the year a couple of weeks ago, which Jasmin probably still hasn't watched it, but which is Master of the Universe.
The only film I plan on going to the theater for this summer is Spider-Man, and that is provided that I am medically cleared to go to the theater.
Oh, so the week before, me and Devaughn on the Friday did a Summer Games Fest episode on the Friday, and then on Thursday, we did Master of the Universe. And then the previous weekend, I don't know if you remember Matt from Talking Pop Culture. We did a Saturday night episode covering Spider-Man Noir from Amazon Prime. And then the Friday before that, I did Mulholland Drive. That's definitely the last time I showed a trailer, so that was 2 weeks ago. And had a guest on for that, a guy called Lawrence. But yeah, look, I've lined up 2 trailers. One that came out today, it's 1 minute long. It's a teaser trailer. It's for a movie called Your Mother, Your Mother, Your Mother. It comes out on the 25th of December. It stars I'm going to struggle to say his name. Mahershala Ali.
Mahershala Ali.
Yeah. All right, brilliant actor. I saw him in a great film the other day. I'll come back to that in a minute. Actually, it's a really old film. Well, I say old, like 10 years ago. It's 1 minute long. It's just a teaser. I've not watched it, so I don't know much more about it than we're going to cover now.
I've never heard of
it. A man came to the prophet and asked, "Who is most beloved to us after you?" The prophet said, "Your mother." The man asked, "Then who?" The prophet said, "Your mother again." "Then who?" The prophet replied, "Your mother." 3 times? Yeah. The man asked again, "Who is next?" And the prophet replied, "And then your father."
Sorry?
That's like a John Wick with family values.
Yeah, I'm there. This is what it says. A devoutly religious hitman, there we go, struggles to balance work, faith, and fatherhood. When his wife dies, he embarks on a desperate journey across Houston, there you go, in your town, to protect his children as he confronts the forces that are closing in around him. Do you know what? Yeah, swap out the dog for his wife, and it's kind of very similar. Although John Wick's wife does die, then the dog.
Yes. So he loses all of his people.
Yeah.
And then he gets a new dog, and then the new dog is more of a companion. Anyway, that looks interesting. I've never heard of it.
I've not heard of it. I've not heard of it until today.
I always point everything back to Mass Effect, but to me, that sounds like Thane from Mass Effect, who was devoutly religious, whose wife was murdered because he was a hitman, and then he had to pull his son out of that lifestyle before it took hold.
I have not played Mass Effect, although I do now own it because I bought it at sale at Christmas. But it's already July and I've barely played my PlayStation. This year has flown by. Right, okay, the next film that I've highlighted, we're only going to do 2 trailers this evening because we're going to have a massive conversation in a minute, is a movie that is coming out on the 23rd of October by a director who is well known for some 4 movies, one that was loved, one that was not. That's Taika
Waititi.
Yeah, there you go. From New Zealand. This is a sci-fi film, stars Jenna Ortega. It looks like it's going to be a kind of a heartfelt sci-fi comedy. Maybe not as much comedy, but maybe some comical moments.
I thought it's Taika, so it's going to have some humor.
So this is called Clara and the Sun. It is based off a book from 2021, or a novel of the same name. Here we go.
Hello, my name is Clara. I'm an artificial friend.
Good morning, artificial friends.
Good morning, store manager.
I know artificial friends aren't as popular as they used to be, but I still firmly believe that all of you older AFs have a fighting chance at finding homes.
Glorious sun, please let today be my day. Let me find a friend. If I do get chosen, how will I know if my person and I are a good match?
Just remember everything you learned, and hopefully they'll come to love you, like a member of the family or family dog.
I'm Josie. I'm Clara. Honey, if I'm gonna buy you a robot, I'm not going to be spending money on an old, outdated one. You said that I can choose, and I choose Clara. She's special.
And she's on special. 20% off.
AFs are like a blank canvas.
It's an imbecile.
It would appear. We come out of the lab with the intelligence of a toddler. Is that where the sun lives? And then we learn everything from our humans. There you go. And then slowly...
Well, that's dumb.
Humans, they ask so much of you. It's all perfect until it's not.
Don't put that idea in her head. Just get out there, Fred.
There are things in this house
Josie?
that are none of your concern.
Consider this a trial period. You're still under warranty. And I won't hesitate for a second to send you back.
And then it's back to the factory, and your parts will be melted down for next-gen AFs.
Whoa. Gloria's son. I'm coming to your house to speak face to face. I know the answers are out there. Please show me the way to heal this family. And save us all from the darkness and certain doom. Okay, thank you. I love you. You're not the droid we're looking for, honey.
Chrissy, I think that we could become really great friends, and I just think your hand in the box. Friendship.
Get your hand in the box.
I literally did not recognize Amy Adams until the very end of that trailer.
Yeah, Amy Adams. Yeah, she does look a little bit different from her Superman days. So.
I think it's the beehive hair. Like, her hair was half of her height. Good God.
What do you think of that?
It's like if Blade Runner and Humans
I thought about Blade Runner.
had a baby.
Blade Runner and what?
Humans. That show it used to be.
Yeah, I remember Humans. I watched all of Humans. Did you watch it?
I watched up to season 2.
Okay. Yeah, I watched all of it. I think I did a binge watch a couple of years ago and watched all 3 seasons. It didn't improve as it went on, but
I did like the concept. But yeah, like, this is interesting. I kind of like it. But yeah, it definitely reminds me of Blade Runner. And I want to say Megan, but like, hopefully it doesn't like cross over into Megan territory.
I know what you mean. Yeah, Megan. Yeah. Did you see Megan 2.0?
No, I think once was enough for me. Like, I understood the gist and I got the vibe, and I was like, okay, I think I'm done with Megan.
No, did you see the first Megan then?
Yes.
Because they genre swapped for the second film.
They did what?
So you know the first film was like a horror.
Yes.
They made the second one an action comedy.
Oh my God. Of course they did.
They dropped the horror element for Megan 2.0, and yeah, they made Megan kind of like a superhero kind of concept.
Interesting. I'm not sure that I like
it's so
that.
stupid, the second. Well, they're both stupid, but the second one, it was like, okay, this first one made money, but we want to bring her back. But like, I guess we can't have her just try and kill the family constantly. So let's bring her back to protect the family instead.
To each their own. To each their own. This could also be very much like iRobot, because in iRobot you could go buy a droid to keep it home.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it looks fun. And that is it for trailers. So we will move on to our main event, which is 3 movies. We are not going to go and have 3 reviews now, like as in 3 half-an-hour discussions, because you will get bored, and so will we probably. We're going to discuss the thematic trilogy called the Oslo Trilogy. There are connections between all 3 films. However, I was not aware of it being a trilogy. I came across the last one first, which makes sense because the last one did the best financially and awards, and kind of changed the lives of the lead actress and the director. And I think that's what kind of pulled everyone towards the other two. And it's probably a very clever marketing thing, by the way, to go and then link them, because when we discuss budgets and stuff like that in a minute, one did better than the other three. Right, so the first movie, Reprise, came out in 2006. You're going to give it a go saying some of these names, is that right?
I'm going to try. I'm going to do my best. But I apologize in advance for messing up on all of these Norwegian names.
I think we'll do the titles for all three films first, and then we'll go forward. Right.
Okay. Well, they're all written and directed by the same persons, so that makes it easier.
Yeah. Do I go? Or are you going to try?
Right. So we have Reprise. Our trilogy, written by Eskil Vogt and Joachim Trier.
Okay.
Directed by Joachim Trier. And they are produced by different people. So we have Reprise, 2006, produced by Karen Jolsrud. It stars Espen Coleman Heiner, Anders Danielsen Lee, Victoria Winge, Odd Magnus Williamson, Paul Stoka, and Christian Rubik. Okay, that's the first film.
That's better than anything I could have done. Right. So just before you go further, this was released the 8th of September 2006 in Norway. Had a running time of 1 hour and 45 minutes. Had a budget of $2.2 million equivalent, obviously with Norwegian krona, and it made at the box office 1.3 million worldwide.
Right.
By the way, if you go and dig into that, by the way, the majority of what it made was in Norway. The rest of it was a much smaller percentage outside.
Mm. Yeah. So our second film is also August 31st. Same writers, same director. Produced by Hans-Jørgen Osnes, Vigne Sæther, Svige Indresen. Okay. It stars Anders Danielsen Lee, Hans Olav Brenner, Ingrid Olva, Øystein Roger, Ton V. Mostrom, and Renata Reinsby.
Mm-hmm. So this was released 19th of May 2011 at Cannes, and then not long later, August 31st. Good timing that, because they released it on the day of the title of the film. Then 2011 in Norway, had a running time of 1 hour and 35 minutes. Had a budget, $4 million, and equivalent, obviously. And box office, it made 1.1 million worldwide.
Yeah. And then we have the big one. We have the third film, The Worst Person in the World. Again, written by the same crew, directed by the same director. This one was produced by Andrea Bernstein Ottmar and Thomas Rogsham. And this one stars Renata Reinsby, Anders Danielsen Lee, Herbert Nordrum, Hans Olav Brenner, and Helene Bjornby.
So, okay, so the worst person in the world. Shall I do that now? The last one. Okay, so the release date was the 8th of July 2021 in Cannes. October 15th, 2021 in Norway. Running time 2 hours and 8 minutes. Budget of $5.6 million, and box office made $12 million.
That one, yeah, I vaguely remember hearing about that film, but I had not seen it until today. Was the first time I had seen it.
You did shout out the people who were in it, didn't you? You shouted out who was in it, didn't you?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, sorry. Right, okay. I normally Jasmin grabs this, but earlier in the week I came across something that I thought was actually interesting. Was there's a lot of connections between all three films, the most glaringly obvious is the actor Anders Danielson Lee, who has the main starring role in the first two, more of a secondary role, I would say, in the third film, but is one of the lead characters. He's actually a real life doctor, and he's a kind of the central character and ties all three films together. As you know, visually you can see he's in all three films. But I think this, so he actively shoots these films whilst working in the healthcare system in Oslo between August 31st and The Worst Person in the World. So I think that's pretty cool.
That is freaking wild. Like, what do you mean you're a doctor? And it's like, okay, cool, can't hang out with you guys on my day off. I gotta go shoot a movie. What the hell?
You can imagine he does like an 8-hour, 10-hour shift in the hospital, and then he's off then shooting.
More like 12 to 16-hour shift, and then you are off to. That is crazy. A doctor, like, if he was an accountant, sure, but like, you're a doctor, and then you go and like, movie shooting schedules have those crazy 12-hour days too.
And this isn't, by the way, like, these aren't his only films. He has done loads of films. A film called Bergman Island that I'm pretty sure I've seen. He had a minor cameo in Sentimental Value, which I've seen, but he's done loads of films. Like, he was in a really big film that came out in 2018 called The 22nd of July, based off a real terrorist event, which is on Netflix, about 2.5 hours long. I, out of curiosity, only came across that film this week when I was prepping, and I put the first half an hour on. And man, what a difference in character! He's playing a complete psychopath who is the terrorist, sets a bomb under a building, goes around shooting people. And I was like, this is such a shift from the roles I've just seen him in the Oslo trilogy, where he's playing a fairly mopey character across 3 films, and then suddenly he's like this absolute psycho, like dressed up.
You have to watch the documentary too.
So, well, after, not tonight, but I want to finish watching that film over the weekend, and then I'll happily watch the trilogy. I'll watch the documentary after I've seen the film now. But yeah, it's clearly the guy can act, but it's amazing that he's also a doctor.
Yeah, that's crazy. I've never heard of that.
So, in the casting of Renée, who won Best Actress at Cannes for The Worst Person in the World, she was completely ready to quit acting. This is what keeps happening. You know, how many times have we done these episodes, Jasmine, where someone's been ready to quit acting? So she was ready to quit acting entirely, and she was going to become a carpenter. And then literally the day before she got the offer for The Worst Person in the World, she was, ready to go, kind of thing. And she got this offer, and it was mainly because the director had felt bad. He'd always remembered that 10 years previously in Oslo, August 31st, he'd only given her one singular line, which is, let's go to a party. And it stuck with him that he wanted to give her a role that had more to it. And weird that 10 years later, suddenly he comes back to someone that he'd given a tiny role to, which I thought was cool.
Funny how that works, man.
So when I was watching those 2 films, sorry, I've obviously watched all 3 this week, but when I watched Reprise and Oslo 31st, I had looked on the credits to see who was in the films, and when I saw she was listed on it, I wondered if maybe she had a bigger role, but literally it's a blink and you'll miss it cameo at a house party.
I don't remember her at all in the second movie.
Literally it's like blink and you miss it. Like, only because I've seen her in other films, I recognized her, but probably, did you watch them in order?
Yes.
Okay, so probably because you watched them in order, you probably didn't realize who she was. But when she comes on for like literally a split second, I was like, oh, there she is. And I wondered if she might get a bit more, but she didn't. That was it. This part's interesting as well. It reminds me a little bit of a film that me and you did a couple of weeks ago with Harry Met Sally. And so Philippe's mother is actually in Reprise, plays so Philip's mother, which is also Anders' real life mother, is in the film as well.
That's interesting.
Reprise. Yeah. Well, I'll leave it there. And me and Jasmine have shared some thoughts on these films already. What we'll do now is, we're not going to go into in-depth detail on all three films. But we'll start with Reprise, and I'll sort of go first. I think on Reprise, I'm going to show this here. I'm a huge fan of The Worst Person in the World, and it wasn't just the context of this film, but it changed. I went through this like cinema renaissance last year, and I'd heard such good things about this. And I think last summer I joined like the kind of letterbox community, and so many people have this like in their top 4 favorites, and I kept seeing this like popping around, and I was like, do you know what? I've got to watch this film. And I have been so anti most of my life about watching films with subtitles. I have watched films with subtitles, but it's just not been something that was drawn to me. I'm like, I don't really want. It was in my mind like, oh, I don't want to watch a book. It's like that's kind of how my mind used to be. It was like, well, if I want to watch a film, I'll watch a film. I don't want to have to sit there and read. So I made myself watch this. And yes, okay, we'll talk about the context of this film. But the film itself then made me open to watching other foreign language films, because I was like, okay, if I can enjoy this, and I can enjoy, like, I'll be honest with you, the Norwegians speak pretty fast, and trying to keep up with the level of text on the screen can sometimes also be quite a lot of work, especially with Reprise, which we'll talk about in a minute. But this film led me to watching a film which is an amazing movie, which we covered, called Parasite, and I knew that was a South Korean film, and I've watched so many foreign language films now, and it is purely because of this. This film led me open to the idea that I could watch other films that were not just English. So that was for me. I watched this film a few times on repeat, but I've never watched the first two in the so-called Oslo trilogy. So none of the characters cross over between all three films. However, the connection is just because it's set in Oslo. However, there are themes here, and after having watched the first two last night, the first two, I've watched the third one already, my mind started kind of breaking down the character that Anders plays across all three films, and we'll break it down. But Reprise itself, I found very hard work to watch, and I know it was his directorial debut, and you can tell there is somebody with maybe a lack of experience. The text was too the text was too fast. The speaking was too fast. There was a lot of montage scenes and sort of reality versus not reality, like these huge, incredibly detailed dream sequences, which the first time it happened fascinated me, like where the two friends, Philip and Eric, are at the post box about to post their manuscripts. They've both written manuscripts. They're really good friends. They've obviously got a little bit of a bromance going. They've written scripts. They clearly got high opinions for themselves. They're about to put their manuscripts through a post box, and then this almost 10-minute montage of them becoming famous authors and traveling Europe and all this stuff. And I was really like having to really keep up, because it was really, I don't know if it was such a speed of like how it's going, and then suddenly it goes all the way back to the post box, and I was like, okay, that was a little bit jarring, but it kept happening throughout the film, and it wasn't just even about Philip and Eric. It was like random people that they would meet in their social circles, and suddenly it was like someone who's the lead singer of the band, and it would suddenly start telling me about their mothers and their sisters, and it was cool. I just found that with Reprise, it was all over the place, trying to give you context to all these different people. I'm not saying that I think it's the worst film in the world. There's probably other films out there that are bad, but I think visually I was impressed. You know, I like the setting of Oslo is fantastic, and obviously that's across all three films. And the acting is still very high. I felt like this is a director that was trying to do too much, and I like stuff that's in this, but I didn't like this film. That's probably about the way I would probably put this. But and I think there's a lot in here individually that is good, but there's too much of it, and I think it was almost like he was trying to impress himself. I don't know. Like, what about you? What do you think?
So you just made me realize that you said that things were moving too fast. But when I listen to like podcasts or anything like that, I listen to all of those things at 1.5 speed. And so the entire time that I was watching this movie, I kept thinking to myself, I need to speed this up. Like, this is moving entirely too slow for me. If I could watch this film at 1.5 speed, that would, I feel like that would have been a better experience.
Sorry, it was a montage. No, it was the montage scenes that moved too quickly. Outside of the montage scenes, I felt that they were too... Okay, sorry. The montage scenes were very rapid, and I was like, what is going on? But between the montage scenes, I found the opposite way around. It was very slow. And I would say the last 30 or 40 minutes, I really struggled with the speed of the film. I was like, this is going too slowly. I felt like this could have been an 1.5-hour film or something.
Yeah, I think this one, I can appreciate the artistic intention that was likely behind the silence and the cinematography that was in this film. And you see that across all of them. There are, like, especially in the second one, really long moments of just silence. Like, characters are doing things, but nobody is saying anything. But, like, with this film, I absolutely hated every fucking character in this film. And so,
oh yeah, me too. Yeah.
Because I couldn't latch on to anyone. It was just like I couldn't bring myself to care. Like I didn't care. I didn't care that the main character had a breakdown. I didn't care that the second main character like never quite found his foot. Like I just didn't care about the plight of the characters. But I think like I hated the cool
friendship. I was gonna say I hated the cool friendship group the most. That was the people I hated the most.
Yeah, like they're assholes. Like they were just like real assholes. There was no other way to describe them. Just like they were shitty people. And like I don't know, like if you're because I paused the movie and then I went and like pulled up like Wikipedia and all of these other places and I was like, somebody explain this movie to me because I feel like I don't get it. Personally, this film was not for me. Like it 100% like this guy made this film for him and his friends. That didn't include me. Like I'm not in that target audience whatsoever. And that's fine. Like it doesn't have to be, everything doesn't have to be for me. But like just not liking any of these characters that you're stuck with for the entirety of this film. And it was just, nobody had any growth. No one changed from the beginning of the film to the end of the film. Like,
oh yeah, I got that
they were
completely.
Shitty people at the beginning of the film, and they were shitty people at the end of the film, and it was just like, how did you live this entire lifespan, or however long the film takes place, and it's like, and nothing changed for you?
I feel like it's probably set over maybe a year or 2 years in their early 20s. It's definitely their early 20s, and I get when you're early 20s, you can be a bit of an idiot, but these people were not good people, like especially that friendship group. They were racist, sexist, you know, they were horrendous. But even one of the girls stands up and says, how can you not be friends with all these people? And Philip and Eric just Philip's actually in the river, he doesn't hear it all.
She stood up and said that and then she fucking married that guy.
Yeah, and then that Eric just sits there. Like, and I think Philip didn't hear. I'm pretty sure he didn't hear the conversation because I'm sure he was in the water. But equally, it doesn't stop him being a knob throughout most of the film. But yeah. I didn't
like anybody at all. I didn't like
the
girls in the film. I didn't like the guy. Like none of them.
Philip and Eric spend way too much time in their heads. But there's some themes. We're going to come back to Reprise because I do want to mention themes later on between all three. But ultimately, me and you, I sort of wavered with what to give this, like a rating. Because I was like, okay, visually this is amazing. Cinematography is brilliant. But I didn't really enjoy the script. I didn't really enjoy any of the characters and the lack of their development. I feel like I'm nearing more to probably a 2, but maybe it could be even a 1.5. Like, what do you think?
I don't even want to rate it because I just feel like this film is not for me. Like I'm not the audience that this film was made for. And it just feels like you walk into the wrong room and then you just don't walk out of it. That's what it felt like watching this movie. Where it was I don't belong here.
These are people that would not be my friends in real life. So I feel like you're like a 0.5 out of 5. That's like the bottom grade.
Like I don't want to shit on it because I don't necessarily think that it is a bad film, but
Yeah.
I enjoyed absolutely nothing about this film.
I think, like I say, that I think what we're in agreement is the cinematography is good, and
yes, technically, I think that this is a technically well done film.
I think it's a strong indie film, but it's not desirable maybe for us. Would we have liked it in our early 20s? I would probably not have liked it in my early 20s.
But that's the thing. I don't know. And it could just be like not like a global divide, but it also could just be regional. Like the way that they talked up this city made it seem like this place is a real shithole and it's hard to do anything here. It's hard to be successful here. So like it seems like they grew up in this bubble, and maybe that's why they behaved the way that they behaved. And it was just like that was, I don't know. Like
okay, so
that was hard for me too.
I wrote this down. Was that this is some of my own notes? Basically, that they're arrogant people, and terrified by the belief that they're. I wrote this down when I watched this other day, that they're special and destined for greatness. However, I wrote that they're paralyzed by fear, and that's why I think they Miranda around this potential that they feel they have for themselves, and ultimately don't achieve it.
Yeah, and they do make reference in the film between like the East Siders and the West Siders, and how like the West Side people are the ones that are real uppity and come from money, whereas the East Side people are a little bit more poor. I feel like this first film was made for Norwegians. It to me, it does not translate to an international audience because what they discuss, it just seems way too like you have to be there. And it's like if the audience can't connect to that, then like obviously like we can't connect to these characters, because you can tell me that there is this socioeconomic divide, but that is not something that you actually get to experience when you're watching the film. It's just these characters say it, and then so it was a disconnect. And if you make this movie for your people, that's great. Like I love that for you. But like I said, this movie was not for me, and so I couldn't connect to it. I didn't enjoy it. Again, I don't think that means it's a bad film. I just did not enjoy this film.
Okay, so let's move on to the second in the thematic trilogy, which is Oslo, August 31st. So I didn't realize this. Well, you may not realize this either, but when the film finishes, it finishes on August 31st. So most of the film, I think 90% of the film, is set on August 30th. It's essentially over a 24-hour period. The character is called Anders, played by Anders. I don't know if you realise this, but Renate, who does have a 10-second cameo, her character was also just called Renate. Okay, anyway. Anders gets out of a rehab home of some sort. And by the way, the character that he runs into, first of all, a guy called Thomas, played by Hans Olav Brenner, equally has a role in The Worst Person in the World. There's a lot of crossover between all three films. A lot of similar faces are used. So Anders gets out, and he basically goes on like this whistle-stop tour. He's been given like a day release to try and start easing him back out into the world. And he goes, sits with a bunch of his friends. First friend he meets, Thomas, sits with his wife and kid. However, whilst Anders has been through rehab and has now been clean for 10 months and is starting to get back out into the world, Thomas, his friend, I have to criticize this guy, spends most of the time moaning to Anders about his own problems, about things like, we don't have sex anymore, the baby's got a rash. It's like, mate, your friend's just got out of being a heroin addict, and he doesn't care about your baby, like having a rash. And anyway, people just centered around their own lives a lot of the time. And then he goes on this sort of whistle-stop tour, and he goes for a job interview, and his own struggles with accepting of the world that he's come into. His sister doesn't want to meet up with him, and I think it's like a combination of his own expectations, but also people's view on him, and that starts to fester throughout the day. And it ends in an evening of him going out partying and deciding to. Well, he makes a decision that he cannot go back to living a normal life, and he does make a comment earlier on about killing himself, and his friend Thomas is like, no, don't do that, please don't put that on me. And I'm not going to spoil things, but this film is old, and that's ultimately how this film ends. But I feel like he could have turned. There's so many points that could have pulled him back. And when he meets that random girl at a party and they all decide to go skinny dipping, she was trying to pull him in, but it's like the director used the same visual stuff that he used from Reprise, although I think that was done a lot better in this film. He's sitting on those steps looking at them all in the pool skinny dipping, and suddenly his mind starts to drift off and sees himself walking down the road. And I did think this is quite sad and poetic that he decides to take his own life at his family home by having an OD on the drugs that he bought earlier. In terms of the style of the film, I'm going to be honest, that opening sequence describing lots of different places in Oslo and sort of the history, I really enjoyed that. I thought that was a really cool opening moment, and there was lots of visual shots of Oslo itself, which I think is cool. So you've called the film Oslo 31st of August. So they made the city a character as much as Anders himself. Anders really is purely the main role. There's a lot of people that come and go throughout the movie. There's nobody really stable other than Anders. Kind of almost every sort of 15 minutes you get a bunch of introductions to people that are just there for that moment, which I guess is a bit like normal life if you're having a day out and you're running around the city and seeing different people. And this point in the character's life now is in his early 30s, and this is where I feel like if the thematic trilogy, you've got a similar character in his 20s in the first film, then in his 30s, both of these young men dealing with their own problems. Look, and again, film very similar to Reprise, visually amazing, cinematography is amazing. I really did enjoy the still moments where it panned out across the city, and saw we got to see like trains and cars and roads, and some of it, just the moments of like bridges and all this kind of stuff. I thought was really cool. I loved all of that, and I liked this film a lot more than I did the last film. I was definitely into this. I'm not sure I'd watch it again. It's probably a little bit of a tearjerker at the end. I thought it was quite sad how it ends. But it was definitely stronger than the last one. What do you think?
I think I like this one less than the first one.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. All right.
But I feel like it's because, like, and you kind of touched on it. It's like this guy at this point. Well, first of all, I was very confused. Like, we had been saying that this was a trilogy, and I know that they weren't connected, but that opening sequence in this film with him in that group home, it was the exact same group home that he was in the first film, that character was in the first film. And so I was super confused. I was like, is this the same guy? Like, that's not his name. And the reason I was so confused was because, again, it was like when Eric went to pick him up in Reprise, he picked him up from that place. And in this movie, again, they used the same location. I get that. But like, it was just really jarring. And I think it's because I literally watched the movies back to back. If there had been like a 7-year gap, when they were released, maybe I wouldn't have noticed, but like I noticed. And so for 20 minutes I was confused, and then finally I was like, oh, it's a different guy. Like, this is a totally different kid. It's not the same character, it's a different guy. So once I got that out of the way, it was just like when he told someone else in the film that he was 34, I was like, at what point do you step up and take responsibility? Like, you're 34, my guy. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean that you? So anyway, for me, this one was, I did like some of the secondary characters in this one, at the very least. But with the main character, I had a hard time being sympathetic.
Oh, I wasn't sympathetic.
At the very end. But like, otherwise, like, they don't, to me, there wasn't enough reason for me to feel sorry for him for having gotten to this place. Because it's like, you mean to tell me that you're 34 and, like, you put yourself in this situation? You went to that party and you picked up that glass when you had just told somebody else you'd been clean for 10 months, and you picked up that champagne out of nowhere. Nobody offered it to you. You literally walked up to the table and picked that glass up. That was a shitty choice. And then you went to your old drug dealer, and homeboy was like, "I thought you were clean," and you said, "I am." And then you still bought $800 worth of dope off that man. I was just like, "You got to be shitting me, dude!" Like, it was just, again, it was really hard to have any kind of sympathy for a character that is literally shooting himself in the foot. Like, you're making these choices. There's no one in your ear pushing you in that direction. Like, you might have some shitty friends, but your shitty friends are not the ones that are like, "Yo, man, have another drink," or "Yo, man, do this." Like, you chose these things without being prompted.
Well, even the job interview he went for, he
was just like, what are we doing? And triggering with, like, well, why is there a gap in your resume? Like, but, like, you didn't have to tank the whole thing, dude. That guy liked him. Like, that guy liked him.
Yeah, that was, he self-sacrificed that. That guy clearly started to soften on him. I think he appreciated his honesty, and I think he was going to get offered that job.
Yeah.
And he sacrificed it. Self-destroyed that, self-destructive. Yep. He went in some self-destructive thing there, ran outside, threw the resume away. I think what tipped him that day was his sister not showing up. Yeah. And that started to feed into people now can't accept me, etc. And then he begins this spiral of a day. But at no point along the way, you can't blame his sister, but at no point along the way does anyone, like you say, encourage him to do drugs, encourage him to drink. These are all choices of his own. And even like the comment that was made about, maybe I'll take an overdose and kill myself, whatever. He chooses. It is sad, the choice he makes, but he chooses to go and do it in his parents' home. Mm-hmm. And they're going to come home and find their son one day out of rehab, dead from an overdose. Like, and how awful. I know we're not going to see part 2. But anyway, when I watched this film, last night I watched it, I said to my wife, this is so weird watching Reprise and watching this. In Reprise, the guy has a breakdown, same actor, wants to be a famous author, but struggles with his own mental health problems. In the second one, we have a guy who mentions about going to work as like an editor in media. And I said to my wife, I was like, they could be the same character. It literally feels like we've picked up 10 years later on the same character, still with the same struggles, but the struggles are worse now. And I felt like my only way of really embracing both of these films is that, for me, it is the same character. I know we've called them a different name, or it's a variation on the same character. Like, I've read comments about, like, this is like the multiverse of this guy, you know. And yeah, I don't know. Look, I think visually this is really well done. As a director, he's massively improved, I would say, from Reprise to this one. But again, the story, I don't know, it's all right. Like, the story is all right. Like, I won't hate on the story, but and I don't know if I'd say, people describe this as coming of age. I don't think it's coming
not
of
at 34.
No, not. I wouldn't say this is coming of age. This is I don't, you know, I was trying to, I was going to use a word that might offend people, like it began with an L. So he's definitely in that direction. So yeah, he's a guy that cannot accept his own responsibility for his own actions.
Right. I mean, that's the feeling you get, and whether or not that was the intention, I'm not sure, but like, that's the feeling that we get, because he just keeps making these choices completely on his own. And like, I think the biggest missing piece, or like gap in this film, is that we don't have enough backstory to be sympathetic to this guy. When we meet him, he's leaving from a one-night stand. So it's like, you dropped us into this character already when he was, you know, just on some fuck shit. And it's just like, okay, so how do we know what happened? Like, how do we know how he got here? And like the thing with the sister, I think the thing with the sister was probably the most honest piece of this film. And I say that from like, I have put someone in rehab and I have had that conversation with them. Like, look, I did this with you once, okay? If you wind up in rehab again, I'm not doing this again. And like, that to me felt very authentic with dealing with someone that is an addict. But like outside of that, it's really hard. Like, and I feel like they want us to have some sort of sympathy for this guy. Like maybe he was dealt a bad hand or something, but it's just, it doesn't come across. And if they were trying to get us to have, yes, the ending was sad, but at the same time, like, it didn't really hit like with any sort of impact. It was just like, of course that would be the decision that he makes. Like, everything else in this film was leading to this place. So how can
I was rooting for some sort of redemption, that he'd throw the drugs away, like the girl calling him into the pool and he was going to throw the drugs away and stuff. But I was disappointed in his choice. You know, not even like one day out, and that's the truth. Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of people that have made that choice, but yeah, I guess I would struggle to relate. I don't consider this a coming of age story. I consider this more of a midlife crisis story, and this definitely for me felt like the second part of Reprise. This felt like to me the character of Philip 10 years later. We're dropping in on him. He's still not accepted any form of responsibility, still not doing anything with his life, sort of Mirandering around whilst all his friends are actually doing stuff with their lives.
Right.
Maybe that's what the director of the writer's intention was, but they wanted to separate it out. Maybe they thought it's not connected to a film that didn't do that well financially, but maybe let's carry on some of the themes from the first film. So then we've got our third film. Actually, sorry. Are you going to want to rate this, or do you not want to rate this?
No, I'm skipping this one too.
Come on, what's the rating? Come on.
This one, I think, this one to me misses the mark because you had your chance to get us to feel sorry for this guy, and like you don't feel sorry for this guy until the last 10 minutes of the film. So this one for me would probably be like a 2.
I think visually, I felt like visually I was really impressed. I felt like visually I'd give this like a 4 out of 5. In terms of my care of his character, yeah, I'm much lower like you. And even as an actor, I found him to be bland without being rude. I felt like this was quite a bland role. It didn't feel like there was any range. There was no real emotional hard point. There wasn't any tears. There wasn't any revealing moment. He kind of was just there from start to finish.
Yeah.
So as an actor, I hate to say, I hope you're a better doctor than you are an actor, because in this film I wasn't impressed with you as an actor, unfortunately, Anders. As an actor, I'd probably give him like a 1 out of 5. As a character, the character and the revelations and the buying into him and the compelling parts, that's quite low, 2 out of 5. But cinematography, visually, the appeal, I love the little narrated moments of Oslo. That for me is like a 4 out of 5. Like, I did enjoy that, but in terms of the character journey, yeah, it's quite low. I don't know where I would sit. I probably would average this out maybe and give it a 3 out of 5.
All right, not bad.
Okay, so the final part in our Oslo trilogy. Right, I bought the Blu-ray. Here it is. And I wanted to open this with you because there's something in here. There's a little cardboard slip. So there's the actual disc. But I did not know this until I got this. There's some postcards, or just cards. There's a little slip here. This is the character.
Oh my god. The bobcat with the butthole.
Yeah, yeah. Now there's some. That is the only one there. The rest of it is all just normal pictures from the film, which is a very famous shot. Which of her running. The smoke scene, which we see fairly regularly on any advertisement for this.
Yeah. That one was funny.
But I just, when I opened the Blu-ray not a minute ago, but when I opened it the other day, I saw this and I was like, oh, this is so good. Like, I've got the Bobcat. Now, The Worst Person in the World, I watched it for the first time last year, and then I rewatched it a couple of times since that. And I really do love this film. It's set in 12 parts over a 4-year period. And so it's 4 years of their life, which I think makes a lot more sense compared to the other two, where obviously the other two, we get no real context over a 24-hour period. It's not enough, I think, to really make you buy into Anders as a drug addict. But in The Worst Person in the World, 4 years, we definitely see the change in Renard's character and Julie. That was it. I've forgotten her name now. Julie. I love the fact that it's called The Worst Person in the World, because there's definitely a lot of things she does in this film that are not very nice. But I appreciate the fact that people are growing up and they do things they shouldn't do, and they hurt people they shouldn't or don't deserve to be hurt. And there's some clear moments in here of really just complete conceited behavior. I think one of the worst things I saw her, she does a lot of terrible things, but when she's on a date with like a boyfriend at a bar, and she just drops him like middle of the night out, and then just starts going off with Axel, and just suddenly spends the evening with him. And I love the way the camera keeps flicking between Axel and the random guy that she's maybe slept with once or twice, and he thinks they're now together. And it's like, well, she's just found a better option. And I felt like the character of Julie just spends 4 years of this film looking for the better option. What is the next upgrade? What is the next thing that I can do to be better? Whether it's a person or a course or some sort of qualification or whatever it is. Like, what's that next thing that's going to better me? Whether it's a teacher at university, or whether it's someone with cash, or whether it's someone that's, and then suddenly she gets someone like Axel who's got some fame, got some money, actually doing quite well in society. But even that's not enough for her, because then she realizes in a lot of those situations, he is a celebrity and he's got something about him, and she starts to feel inferior. So then that's how I interpret it anyway. And that's why she abandons him middle of a book launch, and then goes off and does her own thing, and ends up meeting another guy. And I just felt like I can understand the worst person in the world thing. That's what I was trying to put across. Right. Okay. So there's a personal moment I related to in this, because before I got married, I dated somebody, and for 4 years, and they, I would say, shared a lot of similarities with Julie. And Axel at one point calls Julie out and says, like, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Like, what's this thing that you're waiting for? Because you're not happy, And I was like, I've had these conversations, like, and I was like mid-20s, and I was with someone, and there was a lot of that, I'm looking for something. It's like, well, what are you looking for? And they couldn't answer even for themselves. And that behavior sometimes, like, well, back then irritated me. They would definitely irritate me now. Like, I wouldn't have time for it now. It'd just be like, look, if you go and look for it and figure it out, do your own thing. Because I'm older now and got kids and all that. I haven't got time. I wouldn't have time for someone who needed to spend time researching themselves. But I sympathised with Axel's. He's in his early 40s, maybe approaching mid 40s. Similar to me, he's in a place where I probably am now, dating someone a hell of a lot younger for his age, who doesn't really know what they want to do with life. And I was like, I sort of could recognise that issue. I don't know, that's kind of what attached me to it. However, I what I loved was how it was shot, how it was put together. I love the minimalness of the dream sequences that he throws in. It's not as crazy as Reprise. Reprise was like a bit all over the place, but the dream sequences that are used in this are done to much more minimal effect. I feel like this film also has a lot of social commentary on family and friendship groups as well, and the pressures that they put on you, and also the selfishness of maybe some certain family members as well. And like the dad, for instance, who the parents aren't together. And overall, look, I really enjoy this. I think I loved how it's set in Oslo. I love the style of it. And yeah, look, I keep ringing it, singing its praises a lot. I know you've told me that it hasn't attached itself to you as it has to me. I know Karen, that was on here last week. She, I think when I don't know if it was her that watched it or something, or I watched it, and we were both texting each other last year when I found out about it, and I was like, and she loves it. I texted her earlier today to say, oh, we're doing this tonight. She's like, I love Scandinavian cinema. I think, yeah, there was a lot of that. This is my first Scandinavian film, and yeah, just I really got into it. I loved it all, really. I loved. There's certain parts of Oslo that I got to see that I mean, I've never been to Norway, so seeing those parts as well were cool. I don't know, I just got into all of it. And then one of the things, now having seen the trilogy, I felt like Philip from Reprise, Axel is what Philip wanted to be, and this is almost like this ultimate version of now we finally got and if the character hadn't died at the end of the 31st of August, could this be his redemption story? And unfortunately, his redemption story equally ends up in a sad way. And when I was watching this film, do you remember the song "Ironic" by Alanis Morissette?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, damn, this is as if somebody made Ironic into a movie. That's how I felt when I was watching it. So, and you know what, that breakup scene as well, that kind of hit me from, unfortunately, conversations I've had when I was younger. But yeah, those moments of it really caught me, and the gap, the age gap thing. I've never had a huge age gap like that before, but the difference in both where their lives were, and I loved how sensible Axel was as well when he called her out on it before they started getting serious, saying, I don't think they should go any further, there's too big an age gap. And they decided to stay together anyway, which was never going to end well. Yeah, I don't know. Look, I love it. I would give this a 5 out of 5. I really do enjoy this. I've watched it, I don't know, 4 or 5 times now. Like I said, I love one of the moments I like as well is the guy. I'm going to struggle to say his name. Evind or something. The guy she starts dating after Axel.
Mm-hmm.
I love that we get this whole montage from his ex-girlfriend's point of view. And this character who doesn't really have much screen time suddenly gets one chapter to herself, and how she's this eco-terrorist basically, and is completely I don't know, anti-plastic, and becomes a yoga person and all the rest of it. And essentially, she does get her shit together. She ends up with this huge following on social media. And you've got Axel who's got his shit together, and this random girl who's got her shit together, and it's Julie and Evind or whatever, they're just lost individuals that are kind of both looking for stuff. And then what I love as well is how Axel calls her out on, you're going to regret this decision, and she does end up regretting that decision. She realizes that Evind hasn't got any plans for his life. And she is mean to him. She says, you just want to serve coffee all your life. And he's like, that's horrible. And I've no idea what he goes and does with career, but he does obviously meet someone and has kids himself. And I feel like this film does eventually end with her figuring her life out. But along those 4 years, she unfortunately has to hurt a few people to get where she wants to be. And I think this one is probably the saddest one of Axel dying. This is a guy who does have his shit together, is desperately in love with Julie. And the moment that I did think was really sad was, he's like, I don't care about leaving the Bobcat. I don't care about all these things. He's just like, I just want to live in my flat with you. And I thought that was quite sad. But I think overall this is a well put together film, and I know you're probably going to go, I disagree with everything you just said, but anyway, go on.
I think that this obviously is the most well constructed of the three. I love that the colors are bright. I like that we get a lot of quirky things. I like a lot about the elements of this film.
Mm-hmm.
I hate this film, but everything that I hate about this film comes down to writing. And again, hard for me to look at it from a different angle, but like, it's one of the reasons, like this, having now seen this film, this would be the film that I would use as the perfect example of as I get older, this is exactly why I hate female characters written by men. Because like, we sat through 2 films of dudes doing fuck shit, and yet the third film, the woman does the exact same fucking thing those guys were doing, and suddenly she's the worst person in the world and not them. So right off the bat, that whole flipping of the script really pissed me off, because it was like, did you not watch the first film with that idiot friend group? And like, you have the nerve to say that she's the worst person in the world? So I hated that, because it was like, she's doing the things that guys do. And now it's a problem because they're getting hurt instead of women getting hurt. So that was a thing that I really didn't like. I also think that there is nothing lazier when it comes to having a problem for a woman, and that problem being pregnancy. Like,
I don't know. I just googled this actually, like, because I've never thought to look it up. But the reason it's called the worst person in the world is it's actually a Norwegian figure of speech. And apparently it's a frequently used phrase where people say, I'm the worst person in the world, to express guilt or frustration whenever they make a mistake or stumble or fail. And apparently, what it says here, Julie constantly changes her mind, etc. And it's like self perception. So that's why. But I, by the way, I do agree. Philip and Anders are equally terrible people in both those films.
They're just not reflective enough to call themselves terrible people. That's all. Like, and she is. I hated this film, and I know that everybody else loves it. I know that I am an outlier for not liking this movie, but like, at the beginning, before their relationship got serious, when Axel was like, yo, look, the age gap is too big. He should have fucking stuck to his guns at that moment. He should have stuck to his guns. He said it at the beginning. He was like, we have an age gap. This isn't going to work out. You're going to want to go out and like do all of this other stuff. Like, you should have stood on business at that point. And then you chose not to, right? Okay, fine. You chose not to. And then when everything that you said would happen happened, well, now it's a problem. Like, now we got a sob story, and now we're supposed to be sympathetic to you. And it's like, you knew this would happen. You knew this would happen.
He said at the beginning, you don't know really who you are. You need to kind of figure yourself out. And yes, you're kind of happy to be with me now. And at some point when you start to figure yourself out, you then won't want to be with me. I'm 44. I want to settle down. I want to have kids. And then he sort of keeps pestering her and sort of prodding her. I want kids. And she's like, oh, I'm not ready for kids. I'm not ready for kids. And he's like, it did irritate me, the conversation of like, what needs to happen for you to want. And she's like, and she kept going, well, I don't know yet. Like, but that's because she hadn't had those life experiences or those situations happen to her. Like, and then we follow her through these 4 years, and eventually she does end up pregnant, and she does want to keep it. Unfortunately, she does lose the child, but she then is ready. Like, and I don't know. Obviously, it's sad that Anders does get cancer and dies, but had he maybe let her go off on the journey of life that she wanted to have, maybe a couple of years down the road, she might have been ready. And that, I'm not so. I always do think if you're not going to get together at that point, it's very rare that people end up getting together 5 years later. I know there are loads of stories out there of people who have ended up getting together 5, 10, 20 years later. I think those things are very few and far between. But like you just said, had he have stuck to his guns, she could have gone off and done whatever she needed to do. He may or may not have met someone else. And yes, okay, he may have been 50. by the time she figured herself out. But in 4 or 5 years' time, she may have very well figured herself out.
It's really annoying because the entire burden of that conversation was put on her in this film. And that's what pissed me off about this movie, where it was just like, oh, well, it's her fault because she was wishy-washy about whether or not she wanted to have kids. No, he clocked it at the very beginning of the movie. Like, sure, if there's no conflict, there's no film. I get that. But it irks me that her penance is, and also I think writing cancer into a character is also very lazy writing. Because to me, that just says, like, you can't figure out a way to resolve this conflict without divine intervention. Right?
I do think if he hadn't had cancer, I don't think she was going to go back to him.
I don't think he would have taken her back.
I don't know. I think he would have done. I felt like he would have done, but maybe not though, because we don't know where he would have been mentally. Because we saw him on the TV, heated and debating his book. I felt like you would never be that passionate about your project if you were still hanging on for this woman. I think the cancer forced him to be reflective of his life, and therefore the door was open. Oh, by the way, I love that moment where he's got the headphones on, and he's really drumming, and he's actually moving his hands as if the drums were there, and he's like really going for it. And I was like, man, I'm there with you. Like, we've all done this, played air guitar or imagine, I can't play any instrument. But he was like really in that moment, and I loved how visually he pulled in for a split moment until Judy taps him on the shoulder. There was like a moment of joy in that hospital, and but they were pleased to see each other. I think for me it was again the ironic thing. You know, he's got everything that the characters from the 2 previous movies didn't have: the career and direction, and he seems like he's now. It's a very different version of that character, and suddenly it's all getting taken away. And like he makes a comment about, you know, not being able to, people collect all these things and kind of almost meaningless. And yeah, I don't really know what alternatives. What do you think would be an alternative then to the cancer thing if you were to write this yourself?
Them like figuring their shit out. Like, the problem with this film to me is that, like, the conversation is there and no one's having it. Like, when she's arguing with the new boyfriend and she's like, oh, well, it's just because you're content to serve coffee for the rest of your life. And it's like, but have you ever had a conversation about, like, what you want to happen? Like, where you see this going? Like, how can you be this deep into a relationship and you don't know these things already?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you not know what the ambitions are? How do you not know for sure whether or not kids are going to be in the picture? Like, why don't people talk about these things? Like,
so many people don't
talk. Like, oh, I take my coffee with cream and sugar. It's like, fuck your. No one cares about your coffee order. Like, I care about, like, what kind of ambitions you have for your future and where you see yourself in 10, 15, 20 years. Like,
nobody has these conversations. Well, still not nobody. There's a lot of people that suddenly end up in 3-month relationships without actually having had a conversation about where this is going. Like, they do. There's so many people that do that.
What's wrong with that?
Eh?
What's wrong with that?
No, but I'm just saying that's what happens. There's a lot of people that do that. Like, that's like, not. I don't think everybody sits down on the first date and says, like, what's your politics? What's your religion? Where do you want to be?
I feel like the politics should come up on the first date.
But I feel like it doesn't. I feel like it doesn't come up initially. I feel like there's a lot where it doesn't come up. And then
I think a lot of times people hold back on those conversations because they're afraid of the answers. Because it's like, well, if you're not aligned with what I want, then now I got to go find a new person. And maybe that's the whole point of this. It's like, if I don't ask, then I get to say I don't know. And if I don't know, I get to pretend when the shit hits the fan, like, oh my God, I never saw this coming. Like all of the husbands that get their wives divorce them and they're like, I never saw this coming. It's just like, all of this could have been avoided if people were just honest about what they wanted. And that's the part that I don't understand. It's like, why wouldn't you just ask the question? Like,
so do you think that's the message from this, is for people to be honest?
Yeah, ask the question. Like, they spent all of this time, especially this, like, second couple, like, they spent all this time thinking, like, oh my God, you're so easy to talk to. I feel like I can be my full self around you. And then you go and throw it in his face that he works at a coffee shop, and it's like, what if he likes that? Like, I get really annoyed too when it comes to the workforce and people are like, nobody wants to be in middle management. And it's like, some people want to show up and then leave, and then that's it. Like, they don't want to progress in their job, and that's fine. Like, everybody doesn't have to have this management track in mind. And like, oh, it just makes me so mad, because I'm like, why don't you just have the conversation? Why don't you just talk to him about, like, do you like working at the coffee shop? Okay, cool. Like, do you make good money working at the coffee shop? Or like, if you don't want anything more than that, once you have the information, then you get to decide what you want to do with it. Like, you stay if you want, or you choose, like, I'm looking for somebody that has like a little bit bigger ambitions. Like, you're great, but like not quite what I want. You know what I mean? Like, you don't, how can you start to plan a future when you're not even willing to ask the question that's right in front of you?
There's a conversation I have with my daughters. I know they're too young to be dating or married or anything, but I'm like, this is where you need to establish quite early on, like, about things need to be in line politically, religiously, where you want to live. I get, like, being 18, 20, knowing where you want to live and career is still difficult. But this, so you start to form those ideas, you know.
Right. But also being upfront, if you're just like, yo, I'm traveling the world right now, like, I'm spending 3 months in Bali, I'm looking for a 3-month Bali fling, and then when I leave Bali, like, that's a different story. Like, be upfront. That's
do you know? I know. I've got a friend who is a doctor who will work, say, in England for a year. I don't know, like the Isle of Man or Guernsey for a year, or I don't know, she'll go off somewhere else for, you know, whatever. She might go to Scotland for a year. And she's quite honest. She said, I know this sounds terrible. She said, but I will have to, any partner I meet, make it clear, you know. And then, but I will say, but she should say, but I will say, if I feel it's going somewhere, and you feel it's going somewhere, I'm not open to changing those parameters. So I'm not open to changing that. Like, currently, I've signed a 12-month contract. So
exactly, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you could go into this and just be upfront. Like, when people say all the time, like, on these dating apps, like, I'm not looking for anything serious, and then people get butthurt or their feelings get hurt because it's like, oh, but I was looking for forever, and it's like, it said it right there in the text. Like,
but everyone goes in with their own agenda. So circling back to this film, when you know, he makes it clear to Julie the age gap, she might change, whatever, he wants kids. She comes back like, you know, I love you, let's be together, let's kind of figure it out. He at no point has changed his stance. He wants those things. She at no point, well, she does change her stance later, but she takes about 4 years to change her stance when he's dead by that point. But, you know, he's kind of like at her constantly with the goal of, I'm going to change your mind. And that pressure and everything probably led to the eventual demise of their relationship, you know. And anyway, look, we're talking a long time about the worst person in the world. We're talking about the Oslo Trilogy, probably a little bit too long. Look, overall, I enjoyed watching some Norwegian cinema. I did enjoy when we got to see some quiet moments of the city. It does appeal to me, would make me want to go there. From having watched the film, maybe this is the characters that are portrayed. They all seem like they're very serious people. I don't know what actual Norwegians are like. It would be interesting to go to Norway and meet some Norwegians. And
well, I have been having fun watching the Norwegians in the World Cup, that's for sure.
Yeah, okay. So, is that the rowing ones?
Yes.
Yeah. They look fun. See, that looks fun. Okay, so look, maybe the footballers are a right laugh. So, maybe I need to go to Norway when there's like another game on or something and just go and join in.
Actually, Haaland plays for Man City, so you don't have to go too far to see him.
Oh, you know, but being in Norway, so it's not too far for me. It's not that far, like 2-hour plane ride. So, right, okay. Look, I gave this 5 out of 5. I'm sure you're probably much lower on the worst person in the world.
For personal preference, a -12, but like on technicality, technically, I think it's a technically sound film.
Yeah.
So.
I actually like the fact that it's told in 12 parts as well, breaks up into 12 chapters. I thought that was quite unique. That's not often done. And I like the focus sometimes on the smaller characters. But I do agree with you that equally Philip and Anders are not good people either, and maybe this should have been called the worst person in the world trilogy.
The worst people in the world.
Yeah, people. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
But she does figure herself out by the end. She becomes a happy photographer, and the ironic thing is, she spends an afternoon with her ex-boyfriend's girlfriend or wife, which I thought was funny. But he also got an ending as well. Right, okay. That is the Oslo trilogy. It's something that I wanted to do for a while, and I'm glad we've done it. Probably Jasmine.
I am not glad that I have done it. I want all of my time back.
You can talk about it though if it comes up. That's always the thing.
I can tell someone else how much I disliked it.
Well, no, I always think, like, I've done films on here and on Robbie's channel, and there are films I've done that I haven't necessarily enjoyed, but I'm glad I've watched them now. Doing these things sometimes makes you watch things that you may not have wanted to watch or had on your list before.
Yeah, I'm starting to think that I have moved out of that phase. That phase is behind me. I am not.
But I don't put crazy films on here like Halloween 4. So
you do have something in October that I am not interested in watching.
I haven't got like Halloween 4 on there though. Like I haven't gone or like Jaws 5 or anything. I tried to stay away from the really silly, shoddy films. Right, okay. To end this podcast, YouTube show, etc., I'll bring this to an end. Next week, we will be reviewing the movie that's come out today in most places, which is Supergirl. We thought we would leave it a week before we jumped on the bandwagon, and we can break down how the internet wants to hate a film that they've not watched, which is always a mystery to me. You can follow on social media, Instagram, etc. You can also listen to this podcast wherever you get your podcasts, or follow on YouTube and give us subscribe, give us 5-star reviews, etc. Appreciate you watching, and if you're watching on the rewind again, please drop any comments if you have watched the Oslo trilogy. I feel like this is probably, I was thinking about this earlier today, it's probably going to be like a really low volume watch, considering most of the people that watch this show are from America. So I don't know how well that would translate into being interested in some Norwegian cinema, but there we go. Prove me wrong in the comments if you've watched it. All right, anyway, we're going to go. We'll see you next week. All right, bye.